Now, the colors are completely arbitrary. They could be anything, but they are not meaningless. A very good analogy is the contour map, you'll see, of a mountain range, for example, where the contours are drawn and colored, the areas are colored. The highest areas might be colored white, then brown, then green, and then if you went on into the sea, deeper and deeper blues, just to show where the various levels occur. So it's the same here. You can make the colors anything you like, but they do define the different areas of calculation. And you can change them and get the most gorgeous results. Just look at this. Now, you may think that the frontiers are moving, but there's no motion whatsoever. Only the colors are cycling, in or out. Nothing is moving.
When you get very, very fine to very, very small details, the variations can become of overwhelming complexity. So complex that no single picture can possibly give justice to them. It's impossible in a black and white or color picture to show how complicated it is. The only way is to use what we call the color cycle. That is, the colors change regularly, and each set of colors in a way reveals a different property of these variations, a different variation. So by having this color cycling, one reveals in a very, very strong fashion the extraordinary complexity of the set. If the whole set were represented at this scale, the end of the set will go so far as to go somewhere near the star Sirius, the star Sirius, the star Sirius. Very, very far, enormously big, for this very tiny speck. Yet in the middle of a speck, you see an exact replica of the whole.
Now we'll begin our serious exploration. Now we'll begin our serious exploration. Now we'll begin our serious exploration of the Mandelbrot set. A voyage which, in fact, could last forever and ever, much longer than the lifetime of the universe. I have here the full set, about 6 inches across. Now, if I blow this up, I'll increase the magnification now 13 times, and you see more and more detail is appearing. And the interesting thing is you see mini Mandelbrots, replicas, almost identical, yet perhaps subtly different, of the original set. And I can go on doing this. Here's a magnification of more than 3,000 times. So the original picture, about 6 inches across, is now half a mile across. And no matter how much we magnified it, a million times, a billion times, until the original set was bigger than the entire universe, we would still see new patterns, new images emerging, because the frontier of the M set is infinitely complex. And when I say infinitely, I really mean that. Most people, when they say infinitely, they mean only or rather big, but this is really infinity. What is so remarkable, in fact, astounding, about the Mandelbrot set is that although it's infinitely complex, it's based on incredibly simple principles. I had the great privilege of having a discussion with the famous cosmologist Stephen Hawking when I passed through London recently. And I said to Dr. Hawking, the Mandelbrot set is infinite in detail. You can explore it forever and ever, zoom into it. The real universe, however, does seem to have limits. As you go down into the micro world, you get, of course, molecules, atoms, neutrons, and perhaps subatomic particles, quarks. But does the real universe go on forever? Is there a limit, a basement, unlike the Mandelbrot set?
In the case of the universe, there seems to be a limiting scale. It is called the Planck length, and is about 1,000,000 billion times smaller than an inch. This means that there is a limit to how complex the universe can be. It also means that the universe could be described by a theory that is fairly simple, at least on scales of the Planck length. I just hope that we are smart enough to find it.
He thinks that there is a limit in the real universe. There's a small size below which nothing exists, called the Planck length, which is about a millionth of a centimeter, unimaginably small. But that is the fundamental unit of size, the sort of grittiness of the universe, nothing smaller than that. So perhaps the real universe does end there in smallness, but we're not sure. It may indeed go on forever, like the Mandelbrot set. We just don't know yet. I'm sure it's occurred to you that the Mandelbrot set looks like some kind of strange insect. It certainly has an organic feeling about it. It's got warts all over it, and it's also quite hairy. If we go out along one of those hairs, we find something rather interesting. Now look what's happening. At the tip of each hair, it splits into two others, and so on. Each is splitting, going on indefinitely. This splitting up, this bifurcation, going off into apparently random directions quite abruptly, is typical of a class of mathematical entities called fractals. The Mandelbrot set is the most famous fractal.
Okay, go.
Initiate drop sequence. On my mark. 10, 9,
Power transfer.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
God bless, let no man curse.
The transcendental autocrat beyond birth and death, on the path of perfection with the map of the essence I eternally endeavor. Know the ledge, Godhead, elevation, the matchless gift in this garden of God. I see the spiritual world, but it's hard to see through this illusory movie. I strive to be conscious of my own immortality, ineffable vision beyond the astral sphere. So what's in within, in the space, deathless samadhi, aware I'm not the body, but the physical, the astral, the causal, the spirit, soul be infinity. Underneath the three bodies made of light drawn energies, self-manifested, pure consciousness will laugh at death, throw off a bag of flesh. Subtle bodies effulgent, ready for ascension through infinite dimensions. No fear, no tension, plus the science of the self, realization of the soul, transmigration of the Atma, transpersonal. I'm on the inner journey through the spiritual skies, back to Godhead, the kingdom of God is realized. No, you're not the body or the mind in this illusory world, not of it, look above it, son, cause it's truly not the place where we look originally, a place of birth, old age, death, and suffering. But we're eternal, with internal boundlessness, in the self-spark of God, be infinite. Your light's too bright for unawakened eyes of men. I transcend, bend space-time, ascend through the eternal, internal boundlessness, the inner self-spark of God, be infinite. Your light's too bright for unawakened eyes of men. Peace be still. still, no God dwells within. The observer is the universe, I said it, yo. Prophetic through phonetic flows, clapping intellects with introspect, son. Check the way of reason, sages verse demons, pages of soliloquies, and the themes being the void. I meditate past, pray past the Milky Way. 7 chocolate galaxies lay within inner space. Youth to age, birth to death, the jet weight of inertia takes the breath back to the unmanifest, perceived third visually. Within lies eternity in the world of illusion, cosmic delusion, made of atoms, molecules, subatomic particles, 5 elements, mind, intelligence, the dream consciousness of the omnipresent person. Infinite universes emanate from his pores, billions of galaxies for the planets be the lords. See the source within all, and all within the stars. The one has become many. Who sent me? A phoenix wind of flight, give light to dark cities full of strangers. Anger, psychic torture chambers, I make them split in two, spitting jewels at these fools. We're eternal, with internal boundlessness, the inner self spark of God, be infinite. Your light's too bright for unawakened eyes of men. I transcend, bend space, time ascend through the eternal, internal boundlessness, the inner self spark of God, be infinite. Your the light's too bright for unawakened eyes of men. Peace be still, no God dwells within. I came to bring the science that God's rocking the stages. I am no man from no man's land, no matter the ancients, beyond the bounds of physical science, mystical reliance. My constructing tower, building towers in defiance. The lion's meditation becomes communication. Mad spirits descend through the tongue of a seraphim, blending quantum physics, revelations of the mystics. Transpersonal psychology, ideology, infinite, yet lyrical, resonates universal law. The breath of the creator, made from 2 arms of God. Our glory's the palm of our pulse, Paramatma, killing demoniac contact. Last lap around the zodiac, beyond solar systems, an astrological archetype. Pure light and effulgence emanates from the mic. Only lyrical incarnation, bars from star constellations, celestial geometry, tetrahedron, isosceles, toss and seas with the God degree. Through the all-seeing eye, divine hypotheses, from subtle to gross, yo, I studied the most high. The third eye awoke from the psychic slumber. We're eternal, with internal boundlessness, inner self spark of God, be infinite. Your light's too bright for unawakened eyes of men. I transcend, bend space, time ascend through the eternal, internal boundlessness, the inner self spark of God, be infinite. Your light's too bright for unawakened eyes of men. Peace be still, and no God dwells within. Within.
Now will begin our serious exploration. Now will begin our serious exploration. Now will begin our serious exploration. A voyage which, in fact, could last forever and ever, much longer than the lifetime of the universe.